my channel. Today I'm going to share with you, I got over 150 pounds of some food that needs to be stored away for long-term storage, and I thought I'd take you along with me and show you how do I break down over 150 pounds of food to store for over 5 years. It's been quite a challenge for me to try to figure out how I'm going to videotape what I'm working on today, but I wanted to take you along with me because it's all about food storage. Food storage 101. Today I have 200 pounds of dried goods that need to get stored up for 5 years or even longer. Actually were bags that were ripped and they're taped, and so I was able to get them. Well, I got this for free, and I was able to be in contact with somebody who was able to give me all of this for free because they were damaged bags. But I'm going to share with you why food storage is so important. I really don't need to try to sell you on the idea of having food storage because of what has all taken place in the year 2020. But I want to share with you how can you have food stored away and you can use it when you need it. This flour, now I'm probably not going to store a lot of this away for long periods of time because this is pizza dough flour. And I'm going to actually be making a lot of videos using this flour. Also, I'm not taking all of it for myself. I'm only using half of it, and the other half is going to my family. But we have sugar, brown sugar, and this flour, and then I also have 30 pounds of granola. And then I bought a bunch of these kidney beans. So with food storage, you don't want to be stocking up on a lot of food that you don't eat. It's no sense in doing that. But if you're like me and make a lot of your foods from scratch, food storage is a way that you can just really help reduce your budget. In the past videos, I had to pay for all of my food storage foods, and I'm really thankful for this. This was probably only a one-time thing for me, but this will last me many years. When you have a bag that's ripped like this, they cannot sell it, but there's nothing wrong with it. I know where these came from, and they were in a good, clean environment. You do want to be careful though, if you do pick up things like this that were opened, that they could be contaminated. So if you would find them in the dumpster or something like that, I would not recommend that you would take something like this and use it. Only use damaged goods like this if you knew where they came from. So this was not from the dumpster. This was not a dumpster dive, but I'm so blessed to have it. Food storage. Well, we got buckets. And the most important thing I want to share with you is label your things. And other years, I really didn't label a whole lot. And now I'm finding going through buckets and buckets of food to try to figure out what is in each bucket. And the last 6 months, I really worked hard on making sure I have food labels on everything. That way you're not spending an hour trying to find what you need. All right, so enough of talking, and I'm going to share with you what we're going to do. I am a little bit overwhelmed. It takes a lot to overwhelm me, but this has been sitting here now for about a week, and I was waiting when I could be able to do a video for all of you. So we're going to go ahead. It's going to be a mess. I should do this outside, but it's only like 40 some degrees outside, and so I'd rather be in the house and work right here because this is where I'm going to be working my area at. This method, we are going to be using 5-gallon buckets, mylar bags, and oxygen absorbers. Now the key thing is, and I hope you take notes for this because this is a tutorial, so this is almost going to be like an ebook, a virtual ebook, because brown sugar, white sugar, you do not use oxygen absorbers for them. Salt, you do not use oxygen absorbers for them. If you use an oxygen absorber for these products, they will turn rock hard because oxygen absorbs the oxygen. Sugar and brown sugar, it will make them hard. Oxygen absorbers are good for oatmeal, good for granola, good for any kind of flour. White sugar has an indefinite shelf life. That means white sugar does not expire. White sugar, as long as it's in a cool, dry place and you make sure you have it safe from rodents, sugar will last you forever. So if you ever get yourself a hold of some expired sugar in the store that's really cheap, get as much as you can because it doesn't expire. But the grocery stores always like to make sure that they have a fresh shelf of their foods. But please, if you can get some sugar that's expired, it saves you a lot of money and you're rest assured that it'll be all right. Brown sugar is something that may not last as long. I don't see why it wouldn't. I have brown sugar now 4 years and it's fine. You can also vacuum seal all these things, but for me, vacuum sealing I feel doesn't have as long of a shelf life when it comes to your flowers and things like that. I like using mylar bags. Mylar bags, I'm going to show you in a moment what they look like. And also, mylar bags are a little more protected against rodents. Many people have asked me through the years about my big pantry in my home if I have a problem with pests. I've never had a rodent in there. I've never seen anything like insects or anything like that. I've never seen insects on anything. Now maybe it's the area I live in, or I don't know, but I don't have any issues with that. I do check my pantry every week, and it is in my home, so I don't have it in a dark and in a dark, dingy basement. But generally, you want to keep your food at a temperature between 70 degrees to 75. As you know, my pantries get a lot hotter than that. Sometimes my pantries get in the mid-90s. I've never had an issue. My pantries will go anywhere from 38 degrees to 92 degrees, and I've never had a problem with it. I think it's just keeping a clean environment. I know a lot of people will say, well, it's not just about being clean, but I do believe that if you treat your food like a grocery store, then your food will stay fresh and you won't have problems with rodents and things like that. And if you do see a rodent, take care of it right away. Don't let it go a week or 2 weeks, because rodents will populate faster than you can count. First thing we're going to do is I need this flour in this bucket because I'm going to be using this in future videos. I'm going to be making a lot of homemade gifts for Christmas, and that involves some of this flour. All right, so let's get working on this, and then we'll get working on the mylar bags. Really, I do not advise you just pouring food into a 5-gallon bucket and putting a lid on it. I don't recommend that. You can buy mylar bags that are 5 gallons, but they are very expensive. Now, when you do open a bag like this, you want to inspect it lightly and just make sure it does look all right and it doesn't look rancid. How does something look rancid? Well, usually you can tell. It will have an off color or an off smell to it. It's very fresh, and so we're going to pour it in my bucket. I'm also going to use the same technique for my sugar because I'm going to be doing a lot of baking, so in December. So some of the sugar I'm going to actually just pour in here because I'm going to be using it right away. So a 50-pound bag will give you 10 gallons. So a 5-gallon bucket's about half of it. All right, perfect. So I found some really old labels that were only 25 cents at the thrift store. And these labels are perfect for what we want to use them for today. So picking up things like this, you can really save money instead of getting the, new expensive things. Go ahead and pick up stuff at your thrift store because you can find stuff really cheap. We're going to go ahead and we're going to mark the beans. So we're going to make sure we write kidney beans. Because once we put these in the mylar bags, we will not know what they are. Now I will have in the description box below these mylar bags. So the mylar bags come with an oxygen absorber, and that you want for your beans. It is somewhat cumbersome to do it, but once you get used to it, it's actually kind of fun, but it's really fun when you actually put it on your shelves and you see all the different food that's on your shelves. Many people remark how it's like a grocery store, and it is at my home. Now this is going to be, I think these are gallon bags, maybe they're 2 gallon, but it's going to hold a lot of the beans. Because my beans are always canned, it doesn't matter how many I put in a bag, because they're always canned. Now, the more help you have with something like this, the easier. Mylar bags are somewhat expensive, but you can use them over and over again. You just, when you break the seal, you just have to cut them down and make them smaller and smaller. But I do make my bags as full as I can, so I don't waste them. All right, I'll get back to you in a minute after I get all these beans in these bags, and then I'll show you what we do. Use oxygen absorbers? No, you do not have to use them, but it does help. Another trick is you can use bay leaves. So everybody asks, what in the world are bay leaves good for? Well, bay leaves are good for insects, keeping insects away, and insects will not hatch their eggs with bay leaves. And that's just an added thing you can use. You really don't have to, but it does help, especially with rice. So what we do is we're gonna put our bag just like this, take our iron and go right across of it. Quickly, just to melt it. All right, we wanna make sure we got all the edges. And that is one bag. In about 24 hours, that bag is going to really have all the air sucked out of it. And there we go. We have one bag. We'll put it in our bucket or put it wherever you want for storage. When you set your iron, you want to set it on the lowest setting, because the lowest setting is really hot. And you can reuse your mylar bags over and over again. You just cut it and then you can reseal it. Each time it'll be a little smaller, but it works great. If you're using your iron for this, you cannot use it for your clothing. This iron is just for the mylar bags. You cannot use it on your clothing. It'll make your clothing have stains in it. But I was able to get my iron for $2 at the thrift store. The big bag of granola. So it's going to be the same procedure. We're going to use oxygen absorbers and we're going to pack these in the bags. Now the shelf life on this would probably be about 2 years. There are nuts in here and seeds, but I think you'll be all right. So we're going to give that a try. I filled up all of my containers that we're going to use to eat now. So we did that. So everything is the same procedure. I'll just show you quickly. I'm just filling up my bags. All right, everybody. So I did half of the flour. Brown sugar I put in a 5-gallon bucket. I put the flour in a bucket and the white sugar because I'm going to be doing a lot of baking for the holidays. But the granola is all packaged up. Kidney beans are all packaged up. So that is what it looks like for long-term storage. But when something comes my way, I process it and I give it away. I give over half of everything I get, I give away and help other people. So the granola is going to go to some other families. But there you go, everyone. That is everything stored up using mylar bags and oxygen absorbers.